Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your betting game by hitting that subscribe button and ensure you never miss out on our daily content. Want exclusive access to premium betting picks? Join our Patreon. Links are waiting for you in the comment section below. Stay ahead of the game with High Stakes. Atlanta Falcons versus Minnesota Vikings. The Atlanta Falcons, once off to a promising 6-3 start this season, have hit a rough patch, dropping 3 straight games leading into their matchup with the Minnesota Vikings. Despite their struggles, the Falcons remain tied atop their division, keeping their playoff hopes alive. A win on Sunday could be pivotal, but recent performances, including a 38-6 drubbing by Denver 2 weeks ago, raise concerns. Kirk Cousins, in his first season back from an Achilles injury, has shown flashes of brilliance but is mired in a significant slump. While he has thrown for over 3,000 yards and completed 67% of his passes, his 17 touchdown passes are nearly offset by 13 interceptions. Alarmingly, Cousins has thrown 6 picks without a touchdown in the last 3 games, capped by a disastrous 4-interception performance against the Chargers last week. On the ground, Bijan Robinson continues to be a bright spot, leading the Falcons' rushing attack and closing in on the 1,000-yard milestone. Defensively, the Falcons have been middle of the pack, allowing 24.3 points per game. Their run defense has been slightly more reliable than their pass coverage, but overall, their recent issues stem more from offensive breakdowns than defensive failures. Notably, opponents have scored more than 21 points just once in Atlanta's last 4 games. On the other side, the Minnesota Vikings have been a revelation this season, boasting a 10-2 record that has exceeded all expectations. This matchup is critical for the Vikings as they look to keep pace with the Detroit Lions in the race for the division title. After a brief mid-season hiccup with 2 consecutive losses, Minnesota has bounced back with 5 straight wins. At home, the Vikings have been dominant, posting a 5-1 record and a plus 7.7 point differential per game. Sam Darnold has emerged as a bona fide star in Minnesota. Completing 68% of his passes and averaging 8.2 yards per attempt, he's thrown 23 touchdowns against just 10 interceptions this season. Even more impressive, Darnold has been flawless in his last 3 outings, throwing 6 touchdowns with no interceptions. Veteran running back Aaron Jones has also been a key contributor, rushing for 820 yards at 4.5 yards per carry and proving valuable as a pass catcher. Defensively, Minnesota ranks among the league's best, allowing just 18.3 points per game, the 5th lowest in the NFL. Their run defense is particularly stout, giving up only 81 rushing yards per game, the best mark in the league. Prediction: the Vikings are riding high with 5 consecutive wins and should have little trouble covering the 5.5 point spread at home. Darnold's sharp play and the Vikings' defensive dominance create a stark contrast to the struggling Falcons, who have dropped 3 straight games and are grappling with Cousins' turnover woes. As for the total, I'm taking the under 45.5 points. Minnesota's defense has been a wall, keeping opponents under 19 points per game. Meanwhile, Atlanta's defense has shown improvement despite the team's recent skid. None of the Falcons' last 3 games have surpassed 46 points, and the Vikings' games over their last 5 have only exceeded 45.5 points once, and that was an overtime contest. Expect a grinded-out affair in Minneapolis. Final picks: Vikings minus 5.5 points. Under 45.5 points. New Orleans Saints versus New York Giants. The New Orleans Saints are heading into this matchup following a 21-14 loss to the Los Angeles Rams, marking their 8th defeat of the season. Now 0-6 on the road, the Saints are desperate to find their first away victory as they travel to face the struggling New York Giants. Offensively, the Saints have shown flashes of competence, but remain hampered by a defense that has allowed far too many yards this season. Ranking 19th in points allowed, New Orleans surrenders 23.4 points per game, largely due to being 26th in rushing yards allowed and near the bottom of the league in passing yards given up. One bright spot for the Saints defense has been their ability to limit opponents on 3rd down, ranking 13th in conversion percentage. Offensively, the absence of tight end Taysom Hill, out for the season due to knee surgery, will be a major blow. Hill's versatility as a rusher, receiver, and occasional quarterback was a critical element of the Saints' game plan. He ranks 2nd on the team in rushing yards, averaging 4.9 yards per carry, and his absence leaves a significant gap. Meanwhile, the New York Giants return home after a 27-20 loss to the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. The Giants' season continues to spiral, with 7 straight losses and 0 home victories to their name. Their offensive woes are glaring, ranking dead last in the NFL with just 15.3 points per game. While the Giants rank a respectable 15th in rushing yards per game, their passing game has been abysmal, ranking second to last in the league. This struggle stems from inconsistency at quarterback, as injuries and underperformance have forced frequent changes under center. Drew Lock will start again this week after his performance against Dallas, with Tommy DeVito available as a backup. Complicating matters further, receiver Malik Nabers is nursing a groin injury and has been limited in practice. Nabers has been a rare bright spot for New York's passing game, and his absence or limited availability would further hamper an already anemic aerial attack. The Giants' defense hasn't offered much relief, particularly against the run. Ranking 29th in rushing yards allowed, they face a Saints offense that thrives on the ground, ranking 10th in rushing yards per game. Expect New Orleans to lean heavily on their rushing attack, exploiting a clear weakness in New York's defense. Prediction: Saints minus 4.5 points. The Saints have the offensive edge in this matchup, with a ground game that should dominate against the Giants' porous run defense. New Orleans' ability to control the clock and sustain drives gives them a significant advantage, especially given New York's inability to produce consistent offense. The Saints' 6-3-1 record against the spread in their last 10 meetings with the Giants further reinforces their status as favorites. Also take under 41 points. This game is likely to be dictated by the run, resulting in a fast-moving clock and limited scoring opportunities. The Giants' offensive struggles, coupled with the Saints' preference for a ground-based attack, make this matchup a prime candidate for a low-scoring affair. With both teams leaning on the run and the Giants struggling to find the end zone, expect this game to fall short of the 41-point total. Las Vegas Raiders versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Las Vegas Raiders are limping through the 2024 season with a dismal 2-10 record, effectively eliminated from playoff contention. Their Week 13 loss to Kansas City encapsulated the kind of heartbreak they faced all year, losing a winnable game due to a bizarre final-minute fumble by QB Aidan McConnell. McConnell, despite the loss, had a career night, throwing for 340 yards and 2 TDs, offering a rare glimmer of hope for the struggling franchise. Unfortunately, injuries continue to plague the Raiders. Gardner Minshew, too, is out for the season, leaving McConnell to lead an offense averaging just 18.6 points per game, 27th in the league. The Raiders' defense isn't much better, as they've allowed opponents to dominate through the air, a glaring weakness against Tampa Bay's potent passing attack. On the other hand, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 6-6, are in the thick of the playoff hunt, tied with Atlanta atop the NFC South. The Bucs narrowly escaped with an overtime win against Carolina last week, thanks in large part to kicker Chase McLaughlin, who nailed 4 out of 5 field goals, including the game winner. Baker Mayfield struggled last week, recording his lowest passer rating of the season, 69.6. However, with 25 TDs on the season and over 3,000 passing yards, Mayfield remains a key factor in the Bucs' success. Despite injuries to key players like WR Mike Evans, hamstring, and multiple defenders, Tampa Bay's offense ranks 5th in scoring and boasts the NFL's second-best red zone TD conversion rate, 66.67%. My team pick is Buccaneers minus 6.5 points. The Buccaneers should dominate this matchup. Their offensive firepower, led by Mayfield, is poised to exploit the Raiders' porous defense. Expect Tampa Bay to cover the spread at minus 6.5 points with relative ease, especially given Las Vegas' inability to sustain drives or prevent opponents from piling up points. My total pick is over 46.5 points. With Tampa Bay's red zone efficiency and the Raiders' tendency to allow big plays, this game has all the makings of a high-scoring affair. Las Vegas is 8-4 on the over this season, and Tampa Bay's offense has hit the over in 7 of its last 9 games.